Hello, everybody, and welcome back to that Eurovision site, Eurovision with a Slice of Life. I'm Shiloh, and today I have these two lovely guests with me.
Oh,
Hi, I'm Kittens.
And
Daniel
you
is not
are.
oh,
introducing himself.
Um, and today we are revisiting our sort of long ago at this point discussion of Malta at Eurovision 2025. So the Malta Eurovision Song Contest happened
It
back in
certainly did.
February.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, and the winner of the Malta Eurovision Song Contest was Miriana Conte with her song Kant, parentheses singing. And we will address the revamp shortly, but for now, why don't we just talk about our initial reactions from when the song won, right? Yeah.
I feel like in any other year, we would have, well, at least I would have, can't talk for all of you, I would have just gone, yeah, yeah, that's a very Malta song to send, sure. But this year, there was so much stuff in this selection that was really, really good. And there was so much progress in this selection. And I was a little bit disappointed for them to go with the kind of the obvious bait, if you know what I mean. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
But in any other year, you'd have just been like, yeah, sure, fine, go with the obvious bait. And this is not to say that Miriana Conte isn't a good singer. I have a lot of beef with like the staging and a lot of beef with the outfits and the whole thing as it was like on stage. But she is a really good singer. Like
She does have the charisma to deliver on it, which is quite frankly the only saving grace that song has.
she's a good singer, she's a good performer. Everything else was a hot mess. And whether it was a hot mess on purpose to attract attention or
I
whether
think
it
we
was
know the answer to
just a
that,
hot
don't we?
mess, I mean, I don't want to give too many spoilers for talking about the revamp, but attracting attention does seem to be
The
the
strategy du
theme of
jour.
this.
Yeah.
I don't think that's always a good thing. Like, I like the song well enough. Like, I wouldn't turn it off if it came on, but I'm not also reaching to put it on.
It
So,
can I
is.
say? Can I say I have been to approximately one event where it got played, and I am already sick to death of it because of how much it was played.
This
And
was
I
in
never
Sweden.
want. I went to Melfest weekend, and at the after party, it was played about every 5 minutes, it seemed.
Oh boy.
it feels
I'm
like
already
across
sick to death
two
of it.
nights we heard it about 4 or 5 times. And I truly believe this has a very specific, like it has a target market and it is
It's a
reaching
very
those people.
specific
It
target
got
market. Yeah.
played about as much at Melfest weekend as Barabada Bastu.
And Barabadabastu was on a lot. But this isn't a critique of Melfest Weekend. Every Euro Club, every event like that is going to have this happening because it is a it's it's gay club bait. I mean, it's straight
And
club
it's
bait as well, either, but it's
and as you've said before, it's pretty blatant bait too.
yeah, like I think part of my problem with this is it's almost a trick. It's written with a specific audience in mind, and that's not a bad thing at all. Writing with an audience in mind, a great idea. And if you can capture that audience, sure. But I think this one in particular is quite alienating to people who don't get it, or who don't like what it's trying to do.
So, and I think, and to your point about the other the other songs in the selection as well. I think that there was sort of a frustrated feeling that was shared by several of us that, you have all of these, yeah, like you have all of these nice things over here and you really? Really? This one? And we'll talk about the other songs and what was good and what was bad in a minute. I'm on record in several places as having been gunning for Heaven Sent, which plays second. And to be extremely clear, I don't hate Kant because it's the song that beat Heaven Sent. There are several other songs in that selection where they would have won and Heaven Sent would have been second, and I would have been like, well, I'm sort of disappointed about that, but this is good too. Or I would have been like, I'm sort of disappointed about that, but whatever. This, though, the thing with Kant is, first of all, as you've said, it's like sort of a cheap trick. Like the entire song, right, is structured around this singular element of wordplay, right? And her whole thing is like, it's like, look at me. I'm so clever. I'm so clever. Look at what I've achieved. And the whole, like Kunt is singing in Maltese and whatever. And she's like, look, yes, I'm serving singing. And the people who are like really into the song are like, yeah, guys, she's serving singing. And I think the rest of us are all sort of sitting over here like, yeah, okay, but first of all, none of the rest of the song is in Maltese. Right? So like if you're really gonna be serving singing, literally I am without words at how stupid this debate is. She is not actually serving singing. She has built the song, and to be clear, it is not a good song. It's like a very flimsy, poorly produced, and extremely not to my own personal taste, although that is not nearly the only reason why I dislike it, song structured entirely around this wordplay, and for reasons we're going to get into in a minute, if you take the wordplay out, the song is kind of nothing. Like, and then there's the staging, which is a whole other beast. The whole like the Sound of Music outfit situation and the costume change, like it's weird and I don't like it, but I guess it's fine. And then they bring out the exercise balls. And I think that to me is just the epitome of like her whole thing is like she's like this song is going to appeal to this audience and I'm going to do everything that I can to appeal to this specific audience. It doesn't feel genuine at all. It just makes me really mad. The level to which there was no effort put in at all just incenses me to levels beyond verbal comprehension.
See, I think that, Kant is about controversy and it's about courting controversy. And, the whole point of it is to make you go, oh, what did she just say? And the whole point of everything that we've seen so far, and I know we're going to talk about the revamp in a minute, but the whole point of everything that we've seen so far is to grab attention. But it all feels so artificial and so manufactured and so calculated. I think for me, it loses something in that, especially when you have artists who, to all intents and purposes, are being extremely genuine and putting their whole self out on that stage, that are in the rest of the selection and not relying on something that feels a little bit like a trick.
It's a little disrespectful, frankly.
Yeah, it does feel like that. And, Malta has the right to choose whatever they want to choose. And, they've chose something that grabs people's attention and all of that. But I'm not sure it's grabbing people's attention for the reasons that I would like to see as a song contest. This be about the music, the vocals, the staging, the performance, the song. And I don't know. I know that, the contest changes and people do grab attention by whichever means they can grab attention. And, the rise of things like TikTok and clickbait, not a Montenegro pun, um, is going to have its impact on the contest one way or another.
And just the televote only semifinals. Like that, there's a
Yeah,
very clear line that can be drawn from A to B.
yeah. So, I think they have done something quite clever for Malta, but I think they may have done it at the expense of something else.
Why don't we talk about the revamp? So, this is round two of recording this sort of Malta post discussion because we recorded the first one, and then the news broke that the EBU had informed Miriana and the Maltese team that they would not be allowed to use the word cunt (parentheses singing) in the live performance and in the official version, for reasons including but not limited to broadcasting watershed
Yeah.
rules, right? I only just recently learned what watershed means in context of England. But so they basically told her, like, you have to change it. And immediately she was like, well, this is unfair. This is censorship. They had previously told us we would be allowed to go ahead. We are going to fight this. And there were like Maltese news outlets being like, this is censorship. And so we all sort of watched that happen. And we were like, we're gonna have to go for round two of this, aren't we?
Yeah. I mean, for what it is, and I mean, I have lost track at this point over whether, you know, who whether it was only BBC that were the objectors. Um, but
I can't.
I
I like
what the
surely
one
Ireland at
thing
the very least,
the
right? Like,
one thing I do know is a little bit about broadcasting and what you can and can't say at potentially 8 o'clock on a Saturday evening on a. I mean, I know 8 o'clock is not like tiny, innocent, pure children time, but it is before the watershed. The watershed in the UK is 9 p.m. Um, you are there are certain words which you just cannot get away with saying without extremely careful execution, and you will be fined by Ofcom, which is kind of the overarching body looking after that kind of stuff in the UK. And, you
and you'll
know,
get calls from viewers.
there will be outrage calls from viewers, there will be complaint. The word that is not Kant, that sounds a lot like Kant, is highly regarded kind of in the UK as one of the highest level, most likely to cause offense words. If you call somebody a singing, um, then you
The
are
execution, I'm sorry.
very, very, very likely to cause offense. And that was always going to be a problem. Regardless of what the EBU said, it can still not be a problem for the EBU, but still be a problem for broadcasters. And, like, even if you don't have specific rules against it in your country, you could still get loads of complaints, depending at the time, you put the show out. Um, and, it was always going to be a problem. We had Scott Mills saying very early on that they could never play Kant on the radio, on BBC Radio, ever. Because there was no way that they thought they could ever get away with it. And it just wasn't worth it.
And so I think part of the disingenuity that we were discussing earlier is the fact that they sort of that the Maltese delegation and that Miriana have taken the stance that they didn't have a backup plan and that they didn't see this coming.
I mean, I know that we are a lot stricter in the UK on words that go out on public broadcasts. And, they for example, Miriana got interviewed by Newsnight, and they did say they were going to play the piece, and they gave people every bit of warning, and that goes out at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So that's a completely different audience. And then you've got people going on online, well, oh, if they can play it on Newsnight, then they can play it on Eurovision. No, it's not the same thing.
Eurovision, like, despite what Eurovision has been in the past, and despite what Eurovision has become over the past few years as a result of the televote only semifinal, it does occasionally advertise itself as a family show,
I mean,
which,
I
and that's,
definitely remember watching it as a kid with my family. Like,
and that's a, and
and
that's a
that's in the
contradiction on
dark
the
ages.
EBU's part that's a contradiction on the EBU's part that is really not, like, that this video is not really an appropriate venue for discussing. But, like, people who aren't Miriana Kante's target audience watch this show. When I studied in Germany, my host families, like, they all really enjoyed watching Eurovision. Like, middle-aged moms in Germany watch this. It's not just guys who like to go out and dance at the club.
I think there is just any idea that they were just going to be able to play out, and I did think that maybe they could come to some sort of compromise, that the BBC would be able to play some sort of censored version and it would be maybe okay. But I think this reveals that there was either a plan all along for this to happen, and the whole point of this is to court controversy. That's with my tinfoil hat on. Or
I don't think it's that tinfoil of a hat at this point, kittens.
or they genuinely did not know this was coming, and I don't think that there is a universe where you can be a public service broadcaster hanging out with other public service broadcasters and not know
Especially
that
one that's
this
historically been pretty
is
cozy with the British. Like,
and not know that this is a thing. It's just it strikes me as odd. I mean, we should probably talk about the revamp itself, right?
yeah, so we have the revamp. The song has been retitled Serving, which, when the whole, like, they're gonna have to redo the song. But when this news dropped, like, this was sort of speculated. Yes, this is what they're gonna do. And they have replaced the offending word with this kind of like sound. And those are the changes that have been made. Um, and do we want to discuss the music video at all, and the sort of mini controversy that happened regarding the music video? And
There is the controversy of using people's voices without their permission,
yeah,
which is messy.
and also just sort of like paints those people, like, the intent is to paint those people in a negative light, right?
Yeah, the
Like, that's
point,
explicitly the intent there.
the whole, this whole like taking your critiques and turning them on their head, the whole bin bag thing in the video, the whole like, oh, she looked like trash, so we're gonna put her in trash bags and all that kind of stuff. It didn't feel as clever as I think they thought they were gonna be.
No. It felt kind of bratty. And, like, not in the cool Charlie XCX way.
It just felt mean. The music video feels not empowering, it just feels like mean. And the whole point of this song is meant to be, oh, why should we let other people decide when
Right.
we're having the time of our lives? But that doesn't mean you have to dunk on other people. It it frustrates me a little.
I just think there are a lot of people being deliberately obtuse about everything that has gone on about this because you cannot tell me some like an educated adult genuinely thinks that she is serving singing. Yet I am seeing like dozens, hundreds of people saying they're censoring the Maltese language. No, the fuck they are not. if the entire thing was in Maltese, nothing would have happened. But because it was one Maltese word specifically designed to sound like a very bad word that's very on the Ofcom list, it got censored because you're very clearly talking about that one word.
There's
And
silencing women
I,
is another take I've seen.
sure,
And there's a lot of,
yeah.
anybody who's hating on this is clutching at pearls. They're just
They're
like,
colonizers somehow.
yeah, I've
Yeah,
seen some choice takes out there.
I think it is genuinely disrespectful to the Maltese language and people who are singing in the Maltese language that this is censorship of Maltese because this is not how Maltese should be returning to Eurovision, just essentially as a cheap joke
And
when
now it won't
there
be.
is, yeah, when
And
there's
that's the
so
upshot.
much great Maltese language music that they could be sending if they genuinely cared about their language, which I don't think the people genuine arguing they're censoring Maltese. I don't think they do care about Maltese. They just care about Ha Ha Silly Fun Song, which if you just care about Ha Ha Silly Fun Song, go ahead. Just say that you care about being able to hear someone serve Kant. That's fine. Just be honest. Also, don't take it
yeah.
out on Remember Monday. That's just mean.
This is not okay. So I can extrapolate what's going on there, but that's news to me. Um, and I will say, so as one of as an American, right? And like like Americans and sex have kind of an interesting relationship. And not that Kant is necessarily about sex, but Americans and swearing, say. As someone who grew up in a more conservative culture than even England, right? Like it's not like yes, like she can do whatever she wants, but I don't think that the Eurovision stage like there's a time and a place.
The only interesting thing about the song is gone, so what are you gonna do?
I mean, they will assure that the spirit of the original stays on. And they are clearly going to do a much of a promotional campaign to make sure that people know exactly what was in that spot.
They don't even censor the word all the way.
Yeah. So I don't they haven't changed anything else really materially about the song.
All of that having been said, let's take a minute to not talk about Miriana Conte for a moment. Because shocking as though it may be now in late March, there were other songs that performed that were
Yeah.
like good. And this is a sentiment that we've repeated now several times, on record several times. The standard in Malta this year as a whole was really high. So can we just take a second to talk about the wins?
I mean, when we did the pre-video, Shiloh, I said I think Malta is on the up and I think it is getting somewhere.
They're
And
cooking
you,
something, I think you said.
yeah, something like that. And you were like,
Which is
I
true.
maintain Shiloh was right to do that.
but I think the quality of the songs was better. The quality of the show was better. It was cohesive. It didn't felt like it was drawn on for like 16 years. Just even the
Kind of did towards the
visuals were
end.
nicer. I I still don't think they're 100% there yet, but I
Clearly.
do think that they are on a path to something. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the result, but I do think that there is a level of realization that has happened, regardless of the result, that, uh-oh, we better do something, which wasn't happening beforehand.
Right. And I think the lesson that I hope the most that Malta takes away from this, regardless of what happens to serving at Eurovision, whether they whether they get fifth or whether they are last in their semifinal for a third year in a row. I hope that they do not toss out the process that led to this, right?
We had, a variety of genres, we had a variety of languages, we had, and, when it actually came to the night, we had actually some pretty reasonable attempts at staging. I don't think everything hit, but there was some pretty damn reasonable attempts at staging. I was impressed.
So what songs were good? What specifically impressed us, right?
La La Rata Kiki La La Rata Kaboom is everything you could ever want from Malta, I think. In that it is Maltese, great. It is folk, great. It is modern, great. It fucks, great. It's just a really fun song. I think it was put together really well on stage. It was it built on the studio version. They got the woman in. She was great. And it deserved better.
I mean, it
These
came
two will,
third.
yeah, these two will touch on Heaven Sent, so I would only do that briefly. Very good. Uh, Krista Shujak, Unheard, I think was, but really just never gonna win, but still good.
The live performance totally lit that song up. Like it
Yeah.
was not it was surprisingly good.
Uh, Hasliet, definitely wrong, but very culturally Maltese in a way where I don't think I've seen before. I know next to nothing about that kind of music, but I want it to stay around, and it got one of the best televote results. So clearly, so do Maltese people. I really hope we see something like that again. And finally, what was it? Love Me Loud, Kelsey Attard.
There it
Just
is.
a really fun, cute song, I think. And she will be back, and she will go to Eurovision one day, I think.
Because like if she's that good at 17 years old,
Baby.
yeah, that's a child.
I mean, you've not mentioned the one song that I think you guilty pleasured out of Malta.
We will not talk about the Alchemists.
I think we should talk about The Alchemist because you were genuinely just like, why is this good?
I am upset that I liked that because
But
I
you
should
did.
not like that.
You did
It's
like it though.
it is bad, but I kind of liked it
You did kind of
in
like
in
it.
in a sort of kind of fun way.
I think that sort of and kind of are maybe obfuscating. You're maybe intentionally.
I think Daniel just liked it. He just doesn't like that he liked it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What she said.
I mean, on my part, I'm also going to mention Juno,
Mhm.
which I think did really well on stage. Although
That outfit
I,
was a choice.
and also the frame thing.
The hamster wheel
Yeah, the kind of crescent
or the,
thing.
you know, the half hamster wheel as it
Yeah,
were.
I was a bit baffled by that. It felt a bit over the top, but I mean, kudos to her for actually performing in it. I was like, wow, that is some skill actually. Um, I'm also going to mention Still I Rise,
Hmm.
because I think that really elevated from the recording to
Yeah.
live as well. I'm gonna say Heaven Sent obviously, but I think Shiloh should go off on Heaven Sent and why it's amazing. I am also going to not guilty pleasure, but guilty pleasure in Stefan Galea's direction, because I just
That
think
was weirdly good live. Like
it
I was
was
watching
just
that
a
and being like,
fun
"Wait, why do I
performance,
like it?"
and all the like iPad type things. I was like, this is actually kind of cleverly done, actually.
That this is
Yes.
what
Terrible song, but you sold it well.
like this on some level like that's almost what Kant is trying to achieve, right? Or serving, you know, her, Miriana. in terms of the like, well, like there's this one specific Maltese thing that gets repeated, and it's about like sort of, well, I'm gonna do my own thing and whatever. But
Yeah, I
X
mean,
actually executed in a way that was accessible to multiple audiences.
as that Eurovision site's number one, possibly number two after Molly, I can't quite work it out. Matt Black apologist.
You're
I
definitely number two after Molly. This
yeah.
isn't a question.
No, I did think it was just done really well. I was just really impressed by it. And the other one I want to mention is Festa because I was expecting
It
that to
was just
be
silly and
a
fun.
nothing burger. I was expecting that to be the disaster bop. And they actually carried it off really well, and the whole place was with them. And I was like, this actually, this actually
Watching the first
kinda.
semifinal live and hearing the chants of the audience for Festa, 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 like right before they were like the last qualifier called or whatever, like hearing the audience go for them was genuinely kind of surprising.
Yeah, I think it was just kind of fun and well done. And, I don't think there can be any complaint about that. I'll let you go off about Heaven Sent because I think we share a lot of the same adoration for this.
Listen, it's just good. It's like the thing about Heaven Sent by Christy Spiteri, like me I have already sung the praises of the song, like that. It's on record, it's on the internet. You've already seen me do it, but we're gonna do it again. Like, first of all, it's a song that was like written, specifically for her, with her in mind, with her like her this was her first single, like that was her own song. But she had been on some talent show where she had done like popera kind of stuff. This was already her niche. And Taya,
She was in the pre-selection for MESC the year before as part of some opera trio, but
I
I try
remember
not to
those. Yeah, I forget their
I
name, but they were great.
the sopranique, or I try not to think about show. So
sure. And so, like, and then Taya came in, and we love Taya here at that Eurovision site. Eurovision with a slice of Taya, dare I say. And Taya came in and she wrote this song that is like part pop and part opera, and Christy delivers on both of them vocally. Like she can swap between things really impressively, actually. Like, look, I'm a singer with a non-zero amount of training, and I really like that song. I've sung this song a lot. I can't do that thing where I can just like switch into my trained singing register from singing a pop song register. She like that takes genuinely that takes a lot of skill to be able to do both and to do both well and to be able to flip between them at the drop of a hat. It's like is it high art? Like not necessarily, but I think it's good fun. It's mostly radio friendly, and this staging was like there was a lot of effort put into that. There like I think there could have been more. I think that it was lacking energy like a little bit, but it like there was thought put into the aesthetic and into the way that, Christy is moving and into the way the cam like it was just good, okay? That's what I'm gonna say is that it was just good. Done
Like
now.
I think both you and me voiced a concern that we were worried that she might not be able to do it live. And then when it became very apparent that she could do it live, we were both just sitting there going like, because yeah, I think it's genuinely something special to be able to do that. Just
Yeah.
great.
She's neat. Christy, please come back. Please come back next year.
she's coming back and she's going to Eurovision. It, definitely in the before 2030, I would say she will be at Eurovision.
So we had some hits. We had some successes. And these are people that a lot of people I'm really excited to see come back. So, do we have any more thoughts about like the show itself?
It was good.
It was really
They did
watchable.
probably the best postcards of anyone this year.
Oh yeah, they
Oh
were so
yeah.
good. They made me want to visit Malta. I was sitting there watching. I was like, wait, I can't like what if I went to Malta?
Why
If
why
I ever
why
get a
do
passport ever
Malta
again. What if
what
I went to Malta?
why do Malta have genuine Eurovision caliber postcards in MESC?
They stole the idea from Portugal. Um,
But
not
like,
actually, just the doors. But
I mean, I do think that whatever pot money they found unslung at this event, the glow up from last year to this year is wild. I love that they took it down to only a handful of shows. Every show was packed out. Like, you didn't feel like even intervals and stuff were like filler. Like, I mean, apart from the now
endless
national
parade of interval
final,
acts.
but I thought a lot of the interval acts were actually really damn good.
Hmm.
I mean, I could possibly done without another Only Teardrops interval, considering we've had like six of them this year. But if that was the only one of them I'd ever seen, sure. Um, but like, I just thought that everything was just elevated so much better. Whoever they've put in charge of that, keep doing it, whatever happens this year, because it's gone from a show which I would not be seen dead at to a show which I would genuinely sit there next year going, I wonder if it's possible to go to Malta. But it changed it from what felt like a chore to watch to an absolute joy to watch just as a show. And whoever is behind that, please keep doing it because
Real. What do we think is going to happen at the big contest? Because I suspect that this is going to qualify,
I
even without the, actually wordplay in there.
I think there is a very real, if not high possibility of an NQ.
I I think for me this is a safe qualifier, but also I don't know how it's going to do in the actual final. There is a lot to be said for improving the staging and making it actually grab people's attention properly, considering they have to do that without the magic word. But also, I think they are going to hype up the magic words
Mhm.
in some way, regardless. So I don't think there is going to be that many people watching the TV on the final night who are not going to know what that should actually say. Because I think the hype machine stroke controversy machine that comes with this is going to fill in that gap beyond the Eurovision fandom. That being said, if it does that successfully, I mean, I could see this being a televote Hoover.
Mhm.
Because for the set of people who are likely to vote in this, it is kind of laser targeted at some of those people. And the people who are most likely to be able to pick up the phone on the night or whatever, I think this could be an absolute televote Hoover.
I
And we
do
could
wonder,
end up with something interesting there.
I do wonder in a matchup between this and Finland who comes out on top in terms
Finland.
of that demographic, right?
It's true, but I think they do appeal to a slightly different audience. I don't know. I don't know what Finland are gonna cook up this year. I mean, they know they've talked a lot about what they are or aren't gonna do. Um, yeah, it's gonna be interesting, but I think serving has a lot of people's attention, regardless. And I think they will continue to do that in the run up to the contest. They will continue to do that through pre-parties, and they will be doing it in the week or two beforehand. I don't think they're going to stop with the momentum on it now. Not one bit.
Mm-mm.
And to be kind of fair to them, fair game on it because they are doing it really well, even if I don't like what they're doing. They are doing a masterclass in handling this.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I I think this is going to do reasonably well. I don't think it has. I think it was is a definite qualifier in my head, and then I don't know where it will place in the
Oh, like
last.
15th. I mean,
I feel like I've said that about 20 songs this year. That's the problem. I feel like it might not be top 10, and beyond that, I don't know.
no, I don't think it's going to be top 10 because we do have the juries to contend with, and somehow I don't think this is going to collect very many jury votes. Daniel, do you have predictions?
Not as well as you and a lot of other people are saying, oh, it's going to do
There's the chaos
amazingly.
energy. All right.
I don't think it will do that well at all because I think you ca it's kind of being overestimated how brain switch off about Eurovision most people are until
Yeah.
May.
Again, this is the thing
Well,
about the 50-year-old moms in Germany or whatever. People aren't as keyed into to people aren't as keyed into this as we sometimes think we
yeah,
are because we are always paying attention. It's that like XKCD thing about like surely people who are not geologists
yeah.
know these and these and these kinds of rocks, right?
I had friends being surprised that the rain was in 2023. So, and that's Loreen.
See,
So,
my thought is that they are going to make it their business to know that everybody knows.
yeah, but I don't think
And
people will care.
So that's the video. Thanks for watching it, even if it was a long haul. If you liked it, leave a like. You can leave us a comment. You can subscribe to our channel. We've got more videos just like this one where we discuss things, we react to things on our channel, so check those out. You can head over to our website, www.thateurovisionsite.com, for all the latest news, interviews, reviews, editorials, and more. You can find the website on social media at That Eurosite. You can find our socials in the description box. We have a podcast. An audio version of this discussion will go on the podcast, which is called That Eurovision Podcast, of course. You can find That Eurovision Podcast on our website under the podcast tab. You can find it on your podcast apparatus app thing of choice, Spotify, Apple, wherever, by searching That Eurovision Podcast, or you can find it on socials at That Euro Podcast. Is there anything else to say, folks?
I, I think we're
Bye.
done. Thank
All
you.
right, bye,
Bye.
everybody.